What do you
Yeah,
think about the GMO, and what do you think about Pan African Alliance,
yeah.
the healthcare institution? So, what do
Mhm.
you say? What have you got to say?
Yeah. So what I say is, right now, I know the arguments of why the ban was lifted. Mostly was because there is a hunger going on in the north of the country. So of course, what they want to do is they want to grow food quicker so that they can sell it for cheaper, and then they can give it to those people in the north, because they now know we can't rely on food aid from other countries. So that was the reasoning that they gave. Maybe they also have deals with these companies, who knows? But and I agree with that. I think for right now there should be a ban lifted just so you can grow enough food for the next few 5 years. However, there should within the same bill there should be people and thinking, okay, we need to make sure that Kenya within the next 6 years has its own competitive GMO alternatives that they can
Exactly.
now own the intellectual property rights. Because the issue here is these seeds, if the farmers can't give it out easily, if someone steals it, the farmers can get sued. There's so many issues with these intellectual property laws, because you're dealing with someone else's property. It's not your own property. So Kenya has to get to a point whereby, forget Kenya, Africa in general. The only country that I know that really make it is also South Africa, but I'm guessing it's a lot of white-owned companies.
Yeah.
So we need to be able to reach the point whereby we are making our own GMO. We're controlling we because when you make a
The
GMO, I
supply.
mean, let me give you exactly. So let's go through the testing. It's really simple stuff. You take the soil from the regions that you're going to be growing from. You do experiments, and then you look at the yield, percentage, time, how much water, because you want to make food that's resistant to insects or resistant to the drought. You choose, and then you look at the cause and effect. Like, is it bad for your health? If Kenya can get that technology, it's going to change everything. And then now, guess what? Farmers can grow better food, cheaper food, and because the main issue with now the food we're growing without GMO is it's not efficient, and that means it's going to be expensive. If food is expensive, some people are not going to be able. Like, let's say food in Kenya is actually more expensive than the UK. That's how serious
Yes,
this is.
yes. Some
So
some some basic stuff like like really basic stuff is very expensive in Africa than
yep.
the West. Like basic food, things like
Mm,
eggs, bread,
yeah, egg is more
things,
expensive here.
even chicken.
So
Chicken in
chicken
Africa,
is the most expensive in Africa. Yeah.
it doesn't make sense. Yes, yeah.
And even the so-called GMO chicken is expensive in Africa. So we need to be able to give. Okay, here's the main thing: poor people need access to protein. So this whole GMO chicken thing, the issue is I don't know if Kenya makes its own broiler chicken. If it has its own, I think no, it must do. It must do. I don't think we buy the eggs from abroad. I think
Well,
we actually have.
in Cameroon, there's a shortage of eggs, fertilized eggs. There's a complete
Okay.
shortage of fertilized eggs. You can just get the egg that's not fertilized. Okay, there's availability of that, but the fertilized eggs
Hmm.
that actually will produce chicken, there's a shortage because we don't have the technology. They need to import from China, and
Oh,
those are GMO. But we don't have the
yeah.
institution or the lab to produce those kind of fertilized egg. It does not exist, and that's a problem. So we depend on the West for those fertilized chicken.
Yeah,
So because
that's
it's
not good.
become a black market, and yeah, I don't know
Wow.
about Kenya, but yeah,
I think Kenya has a company called Kenchik where they produce their own fertilized eggs from layers. So the one that lay eggs to the ones that are used for meat. So Kenya does at least have like GMO for technology for chicken. For cows, I'm not too sure. But the point is, for wheat products and maize, the things which people eat every day in Kenya, in East Africa, everyone eats bread every day, chapatis, and so wheat is necessary, and also maize. For I don't know if you guys use maize, but I know you guys use yams and stuff. Over
yeah. We
here,
don't, we
maize.
don't, we eat maize, but it's not. It's just one of the various staples. It's not anything particular.
Okay.
Yeah, we
No,
don't,
here
we don't
it's
have. Yeah,
maize and wheat. Everybody eat. Also rice, obviously.
we don't
Uh,
eat wheat in Cameroon. It's only in the north.
I see. So you guys should be focusing on getting being able to grow your yams at a high rate. Like you need to basically get GMO yams. Again, safety, or I don't need to bring that up. That's already part of the, you know, you guys need to start be able to grow yams and all those things, potatoes, whatever staples you have, you need to be able to grow them at a high rate, because the issue is when we're not food secure because we're inefficient. And imagine
Yeah.
this: food should not be costing $5 a day when a person's making $5 a day. That does not make
Okay.
any sense at all. That's now
Yeah.
the issue that I see in Africa is food cannot cost one person $5 a day when they're earning $5 a day. That's
Yeah.
not a way someone
It's
can grow.
exactly. All these things, it boils down to the medical research. Science. The labs and things like that. But if we have people who don't even see that as an issue, that we need to have our own institution. We need to produce what we eat. I think that's the biggest problem. Some people, they're just satisfied,
Yes.
to import, and that is a trap. That's why when I see people like the other guy, he's a
Mm-hmm.
scientist. I'm not against GMO because I think everyone is GMO. Even people who say, "Oh, I eat organic," that's just some BS. They don't even understand. GMO is a good thing, but if you come in and say, "Okay, there's nothing wrong with that," yes, but what are you doing? How, where are you leading the country to produce your own lab? What is your strategy? What are the labs? Where's the funding going to the lab so that we can produce these things? Because the issue with that, if we keep importing, and let's say something happened in America, or maybe if they're doing it willingly or unwillingly, and they don't give you maize, so that is it. So if you're completely dependent on them with
Yeah.
their GMO seeds, and they don't produce you, where the hunger strike is going to start again, and
Mm-hmm.
instability, people like everything is just gonna, it can get into a civil war, hunger, because that's the
Yeah.
basis food. Yeah. So
Do you guys
yeah,
have a
go
safety,
ahead.
like a in Kenya? There's they call it NBA. It's like the National something Bureau of, basically to prevent GMOs or any other stuff being dangerous. Do you guys have? So you should include in the manifesto to make sure that any drug, medicine, food product that comes and is adopted by mass use has to be tested and verified by internal countries scientists. Quality. There has to be
Oh,
a
good, good.
well documented quality control.
Quality controls, exactly, and that's true. The European Union, they've got their own quality control. So I have my notes aside. I'm just gonna put the quality control there. You know, we're taking our notes, and thanks for that point. Okay, so looking at those points on the screen, what can you add?
Yeah, I think we need to. Okay, so well-equipped hospitals, I agree. Trained medical personnel, of course. Basic universal healthcare, yeah. Funding medical institutions. Okay, so let's go with the training of medical personnel. In Kenya, actually, they're very well trained, the doctors and both nurses. The issue is the government is so fishy. They don't like paying degree nurses, so they only employ uh, diploma nurses. Now, what that means is there's actually a lot of nurses who are qualified but don't have work, and these nurses are then now being bought by UK. So we need to be able to find a way to keep our trained medical personnel and maybe do world. So add something like focus on getting to a world standard research facilities so that we can now begin to exchange value at the global market. Because if you can do that, what that means is we can actually retain our well-trained medical personnel. Because unfortunately, you know what happens in Nigeria? They go to the Gulf. Even in Kenya, a lot of the doctors, the senior doctors, are going to the Gulf. So training of medical personnel and also funding research facilities so that our medical personnel basically can be retained